here. George, we're talking Palantir. Stock got downgraded today, but it's bounced. It's nearly flat on the session. This has been one of those stocks that, I don't know if it's short interest built up in it, but, their earnings continue to improve. The number of clients and customers that they have continues to improve. But, you stick AI in a name and you expect this stock to maybe be up higher than the 28.60 that it's trading right now.
Video is obviously not from their most recent trading session. It's a few days old, but we will be watching, going through some of the fundamental aspects of the video that are discussed in relation to the Palantir stock ticker PLTR. So, as we can see here, the stock is no longer trading at $28. I just want to be very clear that we have dropped since then. We are currently seeing price lows, which come in at ultimately $23.75. Which did breach some fairly important price levels that I will also be discussing in this video. But I want to sort of allow them to discuss some of the fundamental aspects of the company first before coming back with these technical levels.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the stock price performance over the last year, I mean, it's up about 65%. It's been a solid performer in the realm of, data analysis, but also predictive analysis. That's really the core of Palantir's technology. I mean, their core roots are in defense, intelligence, homeland security, and scenario analysis and predictive, analysis. So, ideally speaking, what's happening with the business is because their roots are in the government or public sector, they're utilizing their foundry technologies in the private sector. And in fact, if you look at the revenue breakdown for Palantir, it's nearly 50-50. I mean, this was generally a company that was selling primarily to the Department of Defense, and now about half of their sales in the private sector. Even going back a year or so, or a year and a half, they actually partnered up with CRM and IBM, not necessarily in integrating their technologies, but to essentially utilize their sales force, which they have a large sales force of. So that actually helped Palantir grow its private sector commercial software applications. But there are some questions about the move this year. I think there's an element of defense spending and, of course, artificial intelligence, which has pushed the stock higher. But the questions have always sort of been valuation, because as the stock price continues to inch higher, some speculate that perhaps it's not essentially growing its earnings into the price. And if you look at the forward multiple going into this year or the end of this year, it's trading around 87 times this year's earnings, and even next year around 72 times. Now, I think this is why Mizuho's call is more balanced. I mean, they actually have it now from a neutral underperformer. They did increase their price target to $22 from $21. And I think that they're being a little conservative based on what I just mentioned, that earnings have been slowly inching higher, but price has been outpacing Palantir. And I think that's really always been the concern for this particular name. Nonetheless, if you look at the short interest, because you did bring that up, Tom, just a moment ago, it's only about 4% of the free float. So it's actually quite low compared to its historical average. So that might be telling that maybe this trend can continue to the upside, considering, again, they're growing. But again, maybe some valuation concerns are putting some short-term pressure on this name.
Trading at 87 times this year's earnings is a very significant number. I mean, it's extremely high. The positive outlook here for this company, the bar is set extremely high here. And even when we're looking at next year's earnings, the company, Palantir, is still trading at a multiple of 72. So these are significantly high levels. There are cheaper companies based on that metric within the technology space as a whole. But if we do pull out on the chart here, it's very difficult to deny the fact that the stronger trend momentum is still facing the positive direction here. If we go back to roughly the beginning of May 2023, we can see that the stock was trading below $7.50. So, this is a massive run higher here that has taken place in a relatively short period of time. All of that said, I do still think that there are some important price levels that have been broken during this process, during this recent decline lower. And I will be disclosing those here in this video.
I think you touched right on it, George, with this stock up 73% in 6 months. I mean, they service commercial and government markets. They're in data analytics and cybersecurity. They're right on the cutting edge of everything going on right now with the U.S. economy. but at some point it goes too far and the valuations are just high. It looks like that's really all it is, right?
So when he says that's all it is, what he's really referring to would have been recent declines from the prior highs, which came in at 29.83. What he doesn't know yet, because it hasn't occurred yet, is that the stock will continue to move lower from there. As I said previously, we are trading with near-term lows here coming in at 23.75. So these are significant levels, and these have broken some fairly important support levels to the downside. Specifically, this level that I have been watching comes in at $24 per share. So as we've seen, in the video itself, we're not trading quite there just yet when they're conducting this discussion and this fundamental analysis for the stock.
Yeah, that's what I see. I mean, I looked at the last 90 days and they seem to be sort of stuck in the earnings per share estimates, the analysts now consensus wise, at around 33 cents for this year and 40 cents for next year. So I think this one will want to be, quarter to quarter. Obviously, every stock is quarter to quarter to some degree, but obviously the trend is continuing to the upside. And I think maybe right now we've got a hotbed of, homeland security issues, even domestically ones, considering what happened on Saturday as well. That might be a supportive catalyst for Palantir, considering their software is all about predictive analysis. But I do think the valuation is the anchor here for Palantir, unfortunately, because even though the price is moving higher, the earnings estimates are not encroaching or are not keeping up. And so that's causing that multiple to expand, and that's creating some apprehension, let's put it that way, by some of the analysts and maybe some of the traders who are taking advantage of some of the gains in this name to sell for profits, because of the fact that even though their earnings are expected to grow about 34%, if you're trading around 87 and 90 times earnings, that's still a little bit rich.
So yes, it's quite clear that the stock is trading a bit rich, as he says. Definitely an elevated territory. The forward earnings metric is still extremely elevated, even with these recent price moves lower. But as I said, I do want to sort of explain why I'm looking at this $24 level specifically. The reason that I mention this level is because this is the area that marks the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement of the rally that occurred from the move from $20.60. So this is the most recent dominant trend wave here. As we can see here, this drop below the $24 mark has not, we have not seen a daily or a weekly close below this level, but it is significant because this is the 61.8% retracement, as well as the 100-day exponential moving average, as we can see here. So this is a very significant level to watch to the downside. It's still possible that we are seeing a bit of a false breakout in this area. We can kind of zoom in here a bit. It's still possible that we're seeing a bit of a false breakout in this area because we've got a very long wick on this candle and not a very long candle body. We certainly did not close the trading session there or close the week below there. But if we do start to see closes below this level, I will start to target further retracements deeper within this prior dominant price move. So here's the current market update for Palantir Technologies Incorporated, stock ticker PLTR. Our high value trading strategies membership is currently available for a limited time for only $9.99 per month. These high conviction investment strategies are characterized by superior risk to reward metrics that target massive market beating returns over time. Join now to outperform the market, lock in this special introductory rate of just $9.99 per month for the entire lifetime of your membership, and start trading stocks with the pros.